All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alexander Howell, and boy, I just have to say thank you to all of you that watched the last video about the house in Merida. I know that was a long time coming. For those of you who watched the whole thing, wow, it was a long video. I didn't realize how long it was until I sat through the premiere and was like, man, there's a lot of information packed into this. And one of the things that kind of hit me was how many questions so many people had and have emailed me and everything else. And so what I wanted to do today, I know it's going to seem a little wonky at times, but I really wanted to kind of go through and say these are the 4 to 5 things that I felt were absolute necessities when we were kind of putting our list together. Now, there were many more, but when we really started going through it, and once I heard from you all, I really started thinking, okay, there were some things in this house that I need to explain a little bit more about why I felt they were important to include in it, whether or not that was, hey, we've stayed at resorts and really liked this, or I have to work from down here and I need really solid this. So you'll see more about it, but I think we're going to get to about 5 things that I felt were necessities for the place, for the house, and some that turned into necessities during the process. And for those of you who this is the first video that you're watching, my name is Alexander Howell. Please feel free to visit me at alexanderhowell.com or send me a direct email, alexander@alexanderhowell.com. You can also follow me on social media. My main social media is Instagram at Alexander from KC, as in Kansas City. So follow me at Alexander from KC. Pretty much everywhere. I'm the most active on Instagram, a little bit of Pinterest, and not so much Twitter. But if you also want to communicate with me professionally, linkedin.com, you can find me, Alexander L. Howell. And as this video is basically 5 things that I thought were absolute necessities, either at the very beginning of this process or once I was able to communicate with all of you and you shared what you thought were the best things about the place. So I hope you enjoy it. And guys, a few of you have taken me up on this, but I would really appreciate it if you want to communicate with me directly or you want to get updates anytime one of these videos goes live. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little notification bell. And if you want to communicate with me directly as quickly as possible, feel free to text me, 816-727-7740. Again, 816-727-7740. It's going to give you a little automated message, and that's the last automated message that you're going to receive. Outside of that, anything comes directly from me. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, and I hope you enjoy. So after the last video, there were a couple of questions that were brought up in the comment section and in emails to me where people were kind of asking, one, appreciate all the positive. Let me just get that out there first of all. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for watching that video, for liking and subscribing to the channel, and then just blasting me with comments about all the different things that you guys had questions about, whether it was, you know, your experience, who you're willing to work with, or who you want to work with, all of those things. It really helps me just kind of make sure that I know the questions to ask, even though we're already in the process, if that makes sense. There are so many of you that have had wonderful experiences, so many of you that shared those experiences, and please don't ever think that I don't appreciate that or see all of them. That's why I try to reply to all of you every time that you send a message to me. So thank you for everything that you did for that video. But again, very much appreciate you guys watching it. But the questions that I was getting, there were a couple of things that I was like, oh, I can make another video just with a quick follow-up. And the reason that I wanted to kind of pursue that was because there were questions about specific pieces in the design. Now, there are still things that I have to figure out. There were a couple of questions about zoning and restrictions. That's not in my ballpark. I have to just kind of point you to Henry and the other experts in Merida for what the rules are down there. But what I will tell you is there are a couple of things that I just wanted to kind of get off my chest so that you guys knew what I was thinking when we were designing this. Now, the first thing I want to say is our internet. So in Merida itself, they have really incredible internet, and I can't remember exactly the company that I'm going to use, but there are a few out there. But one of them posts that they have 500 gigabyte download speeds, or 500 megabyte per second download speeds. So basically half of a gigabit connection. For those of you who don't know, if you've heard of Google Fiber in the States, or somebody like me who has AT&T gigabit internet, it is an incredibly fast wired connection. So everything that I do here in my office is tethered to a gigabit connection, which means that my uploads and downloads are incredibly quick. Even these videos, that are very large file sizes get uploaded to YouTube incredibly fast because I've designed that. Now, there's two primary pieces of that. Tech nerds will tell you that there's more than that. I'm going to tell you my dumb guy mentality about what you need. The first thing that you need is obviously the connection. Now, 500 megabyte per second connection, half gigabit, is incredibly fast. When you're just going around town with your cell phone, you're getting between 10 and 50 megabits a second. This is 500, so you're getting incredible coverage and surface. But you're also talking about putting that internet service into a home with 16-inch concrete walls. So Wi-Fi signals are going to be all over the place. So my number one priority for me, because I do work online a lot, was I have to make sure that everything is hooked up the way that it should be. So basically what I'm going to do is make sure that when it's done, we'll have the premium internet service, as I kind of need to be able to work there all the time, and my wife as well. But the thing that we're really going to push is the internet within the home. So we're not only going to have repeaters, which basically take the Wi-Fi signal from one place and then continue it on. So basically from here to here has a real clear connection. But if your device is over here, the main hub might not be able to reach it through a wall. We're going to make sure that we have repeaters all throughout the place, or at least a mesh network. Just click on mesh network, or maybe put one in the description below that you guys can click on and take a look at on Amazon. But a mesh network basically helps transference between all of the different signals in the home. What does that mean for you? It means faster internet via Wi-Fi, but most especially when you plug directly into it. And that's what we're planning on doing. So 500 gigabit coming in is incredibly fast. Now, what's the other piece that you need? You need to make sure that your wiring is good. So I have what's called Cat 5 in my house, and I have gigabit internet. Basically, though, that limits what I can do in certain areas because Cat 5 only allows transference of cable at about 100 megabytes a second. Whereas Cat 6, which I then upgraded to here, allows for, I believe, nerds, my fellow nerds, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. All of you watching, look at the comment section, make sure I'm not wrong here. Cat 6 allows up to 10 gigabit transfer for the line. So basically, if you use Cat 6 with a half gigabit connection, you're utilizing the functionality of all of that speed. Now, that might just sound like complete garble and garbage to some. Basically, what I'm saying is this. I want good internet, and therefore I'm running line that allows me to take advantage of it. And that's it. And basically what it is 500 megabit service and Cat 6 line. So if you're talking with your architect, your builder, whoever it might be, don't let them run Cat 5. Make them run Cat 6 for all of your connections, and your upgradability will be absolutely incredible. So that was number one, a very long number one in general. All right, so number two is something that pretty much everybody in the comments section has said, good job doing this. There was no question you have to have it, and that is obviously the pool. I know the first one that we went through was a lot of tech garbage. Let's go into the second one, which is the pool, and it's just all fun. And what's the reason for that? Well, it's a couple of reasons. One, it's a pool. It's awesome. Of course you're going to want that. But one of the biggest reasons for this is Merida itself. Now, this is true in Cancun, this is true in Puerto Vallarta, this is true in Sinaloa, this is true in Campeche, this is true everywhere in Mexico and the southern states of the US, and that is when it is ridiculously hot and humid outside, when there are 3 digits telling you that you're going to sweat a lot today. Being able to dip into the pool is probably one of the best parts of life. And so we made sure that we not only had a pool, but we actually oversized the pool because the house is going to be able to fit a lot of people, whether it's family members, whether it's people staying there for short-term rentals, long-term rental, whatever it may be. We wanted to make sure that our house had a nice pool that was kind of the center of the home so that people were able to enjoy it and cool off. Now, this is going to be one of those things that in different parts of the world, sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. I have a pool right outside of those windows. And hopefully in the summer, if you guys want, tell me in the comment section, I'll show you around the place. We'll do a quick vlog and I'll just show you kind of what's up with where I live, show you a little bit about the personal side of me. But we have a pool because our last house had one and we fell in love with having one. So we built one in the house that we just moved into a couple of years back. It was a long process, but it's really nice in the summertime for the exact same reasons that it's nice in Merida. It gets up to 100 plus in Kansas City. It is also very humid, and being able to go out there, have a nice dip, and come back in is great. But when it is always over 70 degrees where you're located, a pool is an absolute necessity. And especially when you're looking at this not only as a place where you're going to retire, but in the interim, the place that you're going to be renting via Airbnb or vacation by owner, whatever it might be. It's going to be something where people need to come to it, enjoy it, and the pool is an absolute necessity. So just know that was the case. There's no questions asked. We had to have a pool, and when it's 1,000 degrees and you guys are staying at our place, I know you're gonna love it. Okay, another quick thing, and this is gonna seem maybe a little bit ridiculous, but in our travels, one of the things that we have absolutely loved when we stay in a hotel or a home that has one, we just thought this is ridiculously cool and what a wonderful place to be able to have one. And that was an outdoor shower. When you really think about what an outdoor shower is, it is a shower without the real estate around it. It is basically no walls, nothing like that. You're on a platform, you have a drain, and you have the shower head. And that's pretty much it. I know it seems ridiculous, but the moment that you use an outdoor shower, I absolutely would recommend it. And ours will be at the back of the property with tall walls around it so nobody can see my business. It'll be fine. Nobody's going to spy. No peeping Toms. But it was an absolute necessity. Not because it really is, but because it is really kind of neat. We only have it in the master bedroom. It's at the very back of the property. It's quiet. It's very private. And again, I know some of this is going to seem ridiculous, but when you've stayed in the places that we've stayed or kind of all over the world, when you see something you love, it's like, why wouldn't you just do it? So I would say number 3 on our list of must-haves was we got to have the outdoor shower. Maybe it's crazy, but if you've got internet and you've got a pool and you've got privacy, it seems like a really fun thing to have. So I know it's crazy, but it's awesome. All right, so I think this is the 4th thing that we're on at this point. And again, this is not something that you would just go without, but if you look at the designs from the last video, or if you follow me on Instagram at Alexander from KC, again, at Alexander from KC is in Kansas City, you'll see the renderings that we have. And the kitchen was probably the last rendering that we received, and we were over the moon excited about it, because the entire back wall is going to be kind of little bar on one side, but then fridge, cabinets, pull-out drawers, all kinds of stuff. We, in our family, and I know that we're like most families, even though you make certain spaces for crowds, you have the area around the pool to be able to have a lot of people. You have a big dining room table for your meals. You have nice bedrooms or whatever it might be. Courtyards, outdoor spaces, decks, porches. People always end up hanging out around where the food's being made. I don't know why the phenomena exists, but we all know it does. And with ours, the property isn't incredibly wide. It's about 10 meters wide, about 30 foot or so. But that room had to be a large scale room. So when you look at the kitchen area, and I would say this would be the same for a place that's half the size or twice the size, we decided that one of the biggest priorities we had was we have to make sure that that is an entertainment space. And not only that, but Henry was able to design it so that if you pushed the glass doors back that you see in the renderings, it actually combines into the covered patio space. So there's an air conditioner in there. There's so that if it's closed, you're good to go, because I like air conditioning. So when you push those windows back, it really does bring the outdoor space in. And with our family and with so many others, having those two combined areas working well with the covered porch out of the side, the pool there, kind of where everybody will eventually move to, and the kitchen itself, it's just an incredible feeling to know that not only are you going to be able to see from the very back of the property to the very front, as we discussed in the last video, but you're going to see, once the finished product is done, just how much this particular room is going to bring the outside in. And speaking of the kitchen, another priority, and I'm just going to include this in the kitchen, was we put a big pantry in. Now, anybody who's ever had a pantry, even if you see the amount of cabinets that we have, you're going to go, Yes, of course, because it is without question a necessity, especially when you have people that are renting down there. It's going to be kept pretty clear of things, but that size pantry that we're putting in is going to allow somebody to come down, basically go to the grocery store and pack that thing full of everything that they could possibly want. And just to be able to have it there, but still out of the way, was a huge positive. We actually don't have a huge kitchen in this house. It's nice. It looks pretty. Don't look too close. New construction, some things fail all of a sudden, but it's not the biggest kitchen in the world. But what it has is a large pantry. So even though when you look at the kitchen, you think, that's okay, that's nice, very well appointed, where do you put all your stuff? We open one door and it's all back there. And so it keeps it out of the way, it keeps it nice, it keeps it dry, it also keeps it low light, which is going to allow it in some ways to preserve longer. But with a house in Mexico, especially thinking about rentals long-term and then eventually retirement, we thought there is no questions asked when we have this nice kitchen where everybody's around, we have got to have a really nice pantry. Okay, so we've talked about internet and why that's important, especially if you're somebody that's going to move and you're going to work. We've talked about pools because obviously it's 1,000,000 degrees outside and you want an escape in just a nice little cool dip in your own pool right outside the door. Easy enough. We've talked about outdoor showers and why those are awesome. And we've talked about kitchens and pantries and why having that is central to the makeup of your home, because that is where people are going to stay. Now, this last one is going to be a little crazy because this was something that we didn't plan on doing initially, but now I'm ridiculously excited that we have. And most of the reason for that is because of all of you that are watching. I had so many more comments about putting the second apartment, or I guess it's the only apartment, but we actually had so many comments about having the other apartment that's up the stairs on the outside that I had to say, I am so excited that we chose to do that. It seemed ridiculous when we planned on it, but now that I've seen the reaction that the community has given us, now that I've seen the reaction that people have had just asking when it's going to be ready so they can already come down and rent it, that second apartment to me is almost an absolute necessity. Now, for those of you who have not seen the last video, first, I would absolutely recommend that you go back and watch it. And so for those of you who didn't see that video, it's going to be right there. Sebastian, my editor, will maybe put a ding sound. So it's right. Yeah. Anyway, click on that link. You'll be able to see the video. But the second apartment is actually sitting above the main structure. Now, this seems minor in detail, but what it has allowed us to do is put a secondary kitchen and a second living room upstairs on its own. So if you have family in, if you want to utilize that for an Airbnb space while you're living on the main floor for more of a bed and breakfast kind of feel, it allows you to have a second complete rental already there. And the cost between not having it and having it, I know this is going to sound crazy to some, but it was less than 6 figures to add that up when you've already done the rest of it. To have a 2-bedroom, 2 full bath apartment with a kitchen, with an overhang kind of patio space, and with that living room. It was a no-brainer by the time that we saw the cost, and I would have to tell you that without question, that feature might be the thing that ends up being the most appreciated part about our house, whether it's guests coming in that are family or people that we don't know that are deciding to rent that for just a week or a month or whatever it might be. Having that secondary unit on top, I think, is going to be a fixture of why our home is able to be rented out so easily. Okay, guys, so that was 5 things that I felt after that first video were absolute necessities, and most of that had to do with your comments and your emails and everything that you guys have done to bring this channel to be what it is. And I really, really appreciate the community that we've built around here. We're already up to almost 600 subscribers. I can't imagine what this is going to do later, but please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notification bell if you don't mind. That just lets you know anytime I go live or one of these videos goes live. And follow me on Instagram, Alexander from KC. Alexander from KC is my hashtag pretty much anywhere, but that's the one that I'm most active on. I'm also on twitch.tv/Alexander from KC, Twitter, and you'll find me on LinkedIn, Alexander L. Howell, if you want to communicate with me professionally. The biggest thing that you guys can do for me, if you don't mind, go to my website, see what you like, see what you don't, send me an email via that contact us page and just tell me what I can improve, what you'd like to see. And it could be anything from, I don't like how your header looks, you need to choose a different picture, to love it, but maybe go with WordPress as opposed to what you're using right now. Just you guys helping me has been amazing for this channel, and I will continue to ask for that support in helping us move along. So thank you all so much for this. I apologize if this seemed a little wonky as far as videos are concerned. That last one kind of took it out of me. That was a couple of weeks of just getting all the media correct, getting the editing. Thank you, Sebastian, ready to go. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, my name is Alexander Howell. Please feel free to visit me at alexanderhowell.com or email at alexander@alexanderhowell.com. And all of you, from the bottom of my heart, peace.